Hi, everybody, and welcome to the show. This is Open Mic on WJR. Our show airs every Wednesday night at 8 o'clock. And each week, we aim to bring you stories and commentary from students who are involved in the SportsCaster program. I've been fortunate, really fortunate, to be a part of SportsCaster coming up on a year. And this is our 7th month on the airwaves here at WJR, which is really cool, I feel like. And on today's show, we're going to cover a wide range of topics, but we're going to hear from a man who's devoted much of his life, nearly 50 years, as the voice of the Hamilton Hawkeyes over on the west part of the state. Public address announcer Lauren Juice Burns. His devotion to high school athletics is incredible, really, and he's an incredible guy. He'll have some life advice for us and take us on a trip down memory lane coming up a little bit later in the show. He sat down with SportsCaster.com's Ethan Pavey, who's from Groves High School. We're also going to look ahead to our high school football game of the week between Howell and Brighton. SportsCaster.com's Giovanni Macheri, who hosts Drive to the Game every Friday night on WJR. He'll be in to preview that matchup. We're also going to get into what it means to be a backup quarterback. I know we all know what a backup is, but really, what is it that makes being a backup so valuable? Second stringers don't always get the same kind of love as the starters. But when it comes to the quarterback position specifically, it's a little different. So we're going to get into that. And our first guest on today's show knows what that's all about. He's going to be our starter to lead things off tonight. Gabe Loper from Wayne State University and member of the Sportscaster program joins us now. Gabe, how are you?
I'm great, man. I'm great. I'm a little bit better that I don't have to do the full game prep every week to kind of hold the clipboard or get in the game, but I'm doing well.
So what is your connection? Like, what do you know about backup quarterback?
Well, I mean, like I said, I was a backup myself. Now it was one of those things where, especially in high school, but I didn't play. Obviously college, I wasn't a professional backup, but high school wise, it's like one of those things where it's like you're the backup, but you can also play every other position on the field offensively because you kind of have to know what every position does anyway. So kind of plug and play. Every week it was something different. If our QB1 went down, then may have been go time, show time exactly. But I mean, hey, it's one of those things where always ready, always on, but never on.
I got you. And what was, remind everybody where you went to high school?
Grosse Point North High School, baby.
All right. That's the whole, you don't have to get ready if you stay ready. Uh, the tough part about
Exactly.
Go ahead. Yeah, the tough part, I think, like being backup is like you have to balance, the ambition of wanting to be the guy, but a selflessness of, okay, how do I help the guy be the guy and our team, perform at its best? I really feel like it's an extremely unselfish position. Would you agree?
I agree. And you talking about the idea of the guy because here's the thing: you're preparing to be like the guy. You're preparing around the guy. And in the inevitable situation where the guy goes down, everybody in the stands, on the broadcast, everybody wants you to be the guy that just went down. So you really can't be just yourself. I mean, like, the Josh Johnsons, the Josh McCowns, the Ryan Fitzpatricks, they're trying to replace a guy that just went down. So it's a little bit tough. You obviously got to be selfless, but also at the same time, man. I mean, it's kind of like being put in a brutal spot a little bit too, because you can't really be yourself. You just have to be a shell of your starter.
Yeah, that's the part for me. I always feel is, when the backup comes in, it's like as soon as the starter goes down, so and so say Gabe Loper enters the ball game. They're handing the ball off on the next play, right? Because it's like, they water down the offense a little bit. Where it's like, okay, let's ease this guy in. And you may be looking at your coach, you're like, hey, no, full bore, let's go. I'm ready to go. But like you said, you can't really be at your best right away.
Yeah, you kind of got to get eased into it a little bit. I mean, I know that he wasn't the backup to start the season, but take even what is that this past Thursday night game with Russell Wilson after Jackson Dart went down, and Russell
Yeah.
Wilson, they run the ball, Giants run the ball first play, and then they throw. I mean, Russell just throws an absolute duck into the turf, and you got Dable and all these guys that are sprinting into the blue medical tent to check up on Dart to make sure he's okay to get Russell Wilson out of there. So it's like, it's one of those things where if you don't live up to the starter pretty much right away, first snap, then things can get ugly pretty fast for you.
The backup quarterback, right now in the current state of the NFL, we're seeing that you just mentioned. And there's some other guys, obviously Mac Jones with San Francisco getting opportunity, how that can really shift the season when the starter does go down. There is history of the backup quarterback coming in and ultimately leading his team to a Super Bowl championship. Now we're hoping nothing happens with respect to Jared Goff this season, but they do have a couple of capable backups as well with the Lions. So we'll get into that. Just from a historical standpoint, there have been at least 9 backup quarterbacks who have won a Super Bowl. Earl Morrall subbed for an injured Johnny Unitas during the game back in Super Bowl V. Some of our listeners may remember that one. Roger Staubach, Jim Plunkett, Doug Williams, Jeff Hostetler, Trent Dilfer. Tom Brady at once was a backup quarterback behind Drew Bledsoe. Nick Foles went on to win a Super Bowl MVP in 2017. It was like Super Bowl 52. So there has been a history of backups ascending into the lead headset and having an opportunity to go on and win it. It's a mentally grueling job. There's got to be the right emotional balance, and then obviously the physical capabilities of getting it done. We I don't want to say we dumb it down, but a lot of times you get a shot, Gabe. You look over at the sideline, it's like the guy holding the clipboard, and it's like, what's he doing holding the clipboard? But there's there's more, he's like constantly studying, you know what I mean? It's like, you're like taking an exam while the game's taking place.
Yeah, I mean, in many ways, I mean, he is the highest paid standstill guy on the roster in many cases. Especially you kind of get those veteran guys that kind of come back and they're playing. You're even like your Joe Flacco's. Like I said, they're playing for longevity and this that and the other. But no, you're absolutely right. Kind of what we were talking about the break. Before the break is like I said, the preparation that goes into it and how I mean everything is planning for you to go into the game. And you nailed the nail on the head where you got guys that have been able to come in and have I mean success. I mean, I got this 49ers flag behind me, and Colin Kaepernick started as a backup. I mean, Brock Purdy was third on the depth chart behind both Trey Lance and Jimmy Garoppolo, and both those guys went down. And then you had Alex Smith, who eventually left San Francisco, went to go start for Kansas City, and his backup was Patrick Mahomes. So, man, I mean, it's like it's such a wide range. It's like you said, the mental toughness that goes into it, the mental preparation that goes into it. It's difficult stuff, but when your number's called, got to be ready.
Yeah, and you're all over it. And I think the position, again, just from a human level standpoint, like as competitors, we all want to start, like be the guy. The second stringers don't get that same kind of love. But obviously, when you get to the NFL, you're a pro. So it's like, as a professional, what can I do? Obviously, you want to have longevity and set up your financial future. But what can you do to, uh, you know, elevate your team? Like, how can I be like as ready as I need to be week after week after week, day after day after day after practice, knowing that you may never even get into a ball game. I think of a guy here, Gabe, that I knew that I covered actually in college. It was Chase Daniel, fabulous quarterback at the University of Missouri. And he went undrafted in 2009, but had this prolific career. He was a Heisman candidate in 2007, but he was kind of undersized, 6', 235. So undrafted in '09, signed and then waived promptly thereafter by the Redskins, then signed to the Saints practice squad as like their emergency number 3, waived there, then re-signed with the Saints. Ultimately went to a Super Bowl backing up Drew Brees, so won a Super Bowl ring there. But Chase, I remember, so Chase now works at ESPN as a game analyst and has a podcast that he does with Diana Rossini, and but played 13 years in the NFL. And he was also in Kansas City when I was there covering him. So he goes Redskins, Saints, Chiefs, Eagles, back to the Saints, Bears, Lions. We remember him being here in 2020 as a backup, and then finished his career in 2022 with the Chargers. He threw 273 passes in 13 years in the league, 9 career touchdown passes from 2009 to 2022. But made more than $40 million as a backup quarterback in the NFL. And I don't bring that up to just say like, oh, it's not all about the monetary value attached to it. But it goes to show you a little bit about his character and the fact that all these other teams were willing to bring him in when you're backing up guys like a Breeze or a Mahomes or whoever it is. You say, okay, here's a guy who's going to come in and be a professional about it, and he's not going to be barking in my ear that I should be starting, should be starting, should be starting. I'm going to say, give me the clipboard. Let me help get the guys get ready. Let me go through the practice team reps with everybody. I just find it to be, I find it to be of all the NFL positions, one of the more fascinating ones, just because we rarely hear from them. And when we do, it's like high scrutiny, right? Microscopes on. It's like you better perform. And if you don't, it's like, who's this guy? You know what I mean?
Absolutely. I mean, that's like, I mean, spot on. But you kind of talked about how much Chase Daniels moved on. It's always funny because the best backup quarterbacks, we feel like they kind of move around the most. I mean, I feel like Josh Johnson. I mean, I forgot how long exactly he's been in the league, but I mean, he's been, I mean, pretty much on every team in the NFL, including the LA Wildcats back in 2020, the XFL squad. So, I mean, this guy is moving
Yeah.
around, moving around. I mean, that's a lot of systems, it's a lot of schemes to know, to remember. But I mean, these are guys that I mean, the back quarterback is a position that GMs will invest in, where it's like we need a guy where if he goes down, we have a guy that can come in, not exactly light it up, but can come in and finish the game, win the game. I mean, I think of like Tyler Huntley for the Baltimore Ravens. Obviously, Cooper Rush is the current backup, but Huntley got some playing time this past week. Um, and Huntley's ability to mimic Lamar Jackson's game as close as possible without it being Lamar Jackson. So it's like in some cases you want to get those kind of replica guys, but in other cases you need a guy like Joe Flacco who's played on 3 of the 4 NFC North teams now. Currently playing for the Bengals after being traded from being the backup quarterback slash starter. Then to the Browns, and then I mean, look at how much money Josh McCown has made. Just being a backup quarterback, going from team to team to team, holding the clipboard, coming in when needed, making plays.
Yeah, no, that's you're all over it. And I was actually listening to the Bengals game the other day, and it was like so he obviously Flacco goes from Cleveland to Cincinnati, and because Joe Burrow's down with injury, and even the radio commentator is like, well, they got all they could have asked from Flacco. Well, he came in on a short week notice. I mean, imagine that. I think he like took like a commercial flight, Cleveland to Cincy, and then and then it's like, okay, here's the playbook. Okay, be ready to go in 3 days or 4 days. Get out there and run the offense. Obviously, Cincinnati came up short over the weekend, but it's just a fascinating position because of. There was an article that I think you might have read this too, with Jimmy Garoppolo when he first had gotten to New England, and it's like, you know, I think there might be a stigma about athletes in general, like, oh, they just know ball or they just know this. I mean, but to be a quarterback or backup quarterback, how much studying the calls? If you ever listen, like you ever listen to an actual play call,
Oh,
like when
absolutely.
I
Oh my
was in high
gosh,
school, like
yes. Yeah.
it's crazy. Like our calls were very much like okay, ready, $18 sweep, break. Like that was it. It was like okay, so it's like
Oh, that's watered
hit the
down.
eight
Yep.
hole, we're sweeping to the. That's what I'm saying. And nowadays it's like you're like reading some some
Sounds like witchcraft
elemental
almost. It's like,
yeah.
yeah.
So I don't know. That stuff to me, it's like listening to some of those play calls. Like I know John Gruden when he was having his quarterback camp is like, Spider ZY banana and all this. And then you're running, or when he does his quarterback camp room and he'll say, okay, diagram a play for me and then tell me what each receiver's doing on this play, what your pass protection looks like, what happens if the safety cheats or if the linebacker fades. It's like these guys see it. And that's why guys like Tom Brady and Peyton Manning, some of those guys, or these career backup guys, they understand seeing a coverage and then boom, as soon as it shifts or a team shows blitz, okay, then your brain automatically goes to the next. It's very cerebral,
Oh
very
yeah. I mean,
cerebral.
I mean, a lot of times these guys are. I mean, they're getting 2 or 3 calls into the headset. Because you got the initial play call and then you got your check. So it's like, okay.
Yeah.
Safeties are playing instead of 15 yards of ball, they're playing 8. Okay, so they're in run commit, and they're still too high. So maybe we can get someone underneath. Maybe we'll still run the ball. All right, can, kill, kill, kill. Our playbook was in high school. It was a little bit more sophisticated because we had all of our formation sets, and then we had our lasers, our razors, our motions, our Lord and Roam, which one we were, where were you checking the receivers to, all of our, our motion, like our, kind of like those crack motions. Ours was pretty. It wasn't. I wouldn't say sophisticated, but it definitely wasn't just the good old fashioned 18 buck sweep that you see off of Madden either. So it was a lot to remember. But like I said, my offensive coordinator, he used me well because I was QB2, QB3, but at the same time, he's like, "No, you got too much speed, man. Get out there, at receiver."
That seems pretty sophisticated for me, man. Wait, what's laser and razor? What's that?
So Laser was our Z receiver. If he was in the slot left, Laser, or excuse me, slot right, Laser was motions to the left, and then Razor was if he was slot left of our Lord set because tight or no our Rome set tight end right, slot receiver left. Razor would be him moving to the right. Laser would be him moving to the left. So
Wow.
it would be like Rome or like King right Rome Razor 324 sprint pass right go, something like that.
That's good. Yeah, that's great, man. That's great.
Everything meant
And
something. Plus, I mean, the offensive line, they had their checks and they were calling out. I'd get out there, identify the mic, always check the safeties first. You know how far off are the corners playing. Usually watch a little bit of film. Every team has at least one garbage corner, so you just got to identify that guy, and then usually we had a backside post. We didn't identify it. It wasn't in the play call, but always had a backside post. Sometimes it's there. You never know.
you never know.
You never know.
You just got to be, yeah, you got to be willing to audible and find, find your read. I will remember, I'll let you go after this, but I just remember when I was in high school, so I played running back, but I was pretty undersized. And so they moved me out to receiver as well. But it's like, I remember, always looking over at my quarterback, Mike Bushman, in each huddle. And it's probably what every receiver says in middle school and high school. It's like, hey, man, I'm open. Like, I'm open. And then the other receiver on the other end's like, hey, I'm open too. And it's like, as the quarterback, you're like, guys, just here's the play call. If you're open, I'll find you. But quit suggesting that you throw it to, that I throw it to you on every pass. And then, invariably, he would throw it to me, and I'd bounce off my face mask or whatever, and that was on to the next. But but I just know, like, as a quarterback, you're getting all the signals, you're trying to read the defense, whatever. Now you got your receiver over in your ear, like, hey man, give me the ball. I'm open, man.
That's why I like flag football because the number one play is just get open. That's
Yeah.
that's my go-to play. Yeah,
Yeah,
just
that's good.
no formation set, just get open.
Yeah, that's good stuff. All right, Gabe, always appreciate having you on. For the record, for the Lions, backup quarterbacks Hendon Hooker, Kyle Allen. Hopefully, I say hopefully, not, there's no disrespect to them, but hopefully, moving forward, we won't see them in high volume if Jared Goff is able to continue to do what he does. But all right, good having you on the show. Have a great rest of your week, and look forward to the next time we can connect.
Very soon. We'll see you. Thanks, Johnny.
All right, very good. All right, that was Gabe Loper from Wayne State University, one-time backup, but always does such a heck of a job for us, SportsCaster.com. We're going to continue on the football theme. We're going to switch it over to high school football, not just football, but high school athletics in general. I'm telling you, high school athletics in small-town America, nothing like it. And we have a resident expert from the Hamilton School Systems joining the program right after this.